Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Prep Life. So, Liberty Safe, huh? You want to get a Liberty Safe? You're into liberty and freedom? I don't think so. Let's talk about this Hodge twin post. So, look, I do not get involved in social media banter, right? But a lot of the social media activations from people I trust their input. I trust their perspective. Now, the Hodge twins, who I follow, and I like the guys, they posted about a guy from Arkansas named Nathan Hughes. He was raided by the FBI and arrested at gunpoint. His girlfriend, who had just had a miscarriage, was held at gunpoint and put in handcuffs. The FBI turned off his security cameras, unplugged his internet, flipped his house upside down in a search. The feds called the manufacturer of his Liberty gun safe and got the passcode to get into it, all for protesting at the Capitol Hill over 2.5 years ago. You heard my opinion on this insurrection in exaggerated air quotes. I know what insurrections are, but I also know what protests kind of do. I also know that, like, in a class action lawsuit, BLM is getting paid out for being arrested in Denver, Colorado. So when I see things like this happen, I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Why is the FBI doing this kind of stuff? Now, the reason I say it out loud is because I have fear in my own situation of this happening to me. But on top of that, what you might have missed is this whole passcode into a Liberty Safe. And like, I tuned into that, I saw that, and I was like, I wonder if Liberty Safe said anything. So I went to Liberty Safe's page, and you guys were way ahead of me by 3,000 comments. And it said, so Liberty Safe is everywhere you find gun safes. Ironically, they're gun safes that are called Liberty Safe, like not Antifa Safe Company, but Liberty Safe Company. On August 30th, 2023, this is their Instagram on their post. They say Liberty Safe was contacted by the FBI requesting the access code to the safe of an individual for whom they had a warrant to search the property. Our company protocol is to provide access codes to law enforcement if a warrant grants them access to a property. After receiving the request, we receive the proof of valid warrant, and only then do we provide them with the access code. All right, so here we go. Like, here's the major issue, and a lot of you guys resoundingly have. Oh, it's 13,000 comments on the Hodge twins one. But if we go to Liberty Safe, let me read some of you guys' comments because they're funny, but also some of them are like spot on. So what's the point of a safe? Policy in air quotes. A lot of people would say, Mike, this is cancel culture. No, this is consumer culture. When Apple has a better stance in position than a Liberty Safe company, that is a freaking problem. That's your position, and Apple, the most liberal company in the world, who outsources everything, doesn't put the jobs in the hands of Americans, all the drama that's surrounding these big companies, and their position is, we aren't giving the FBI anything. We would not violate constitutional rights or infringe on anybody, and the Liberty Safe company is literally, as a protocol, giving away passcodes and pass whatever. I assume it's not the actual code that the consumer used, unless there's a Bluetooth device. It's like the back-end code to unlock every Liberty Safe company. How about, as a policy, you say, hey, if you want to get in the safe, that's on you, but we won't violate our consumers' constitutional rights. We're not going to bridge or facilitate getting into a safe. The whole thing just blows my mind. And this idea that this is cancel culture kind of frustrates me. Guys, that's why they're winning. They're winning, and we're putting people like Biden in a position because of this mindset where we're like, oh, we need to play it nice. We can't be like them. What, and when Hollywood have the most impactful influences in acting and sports and all the things, we're going to take a position where we step back and say, we're better than that. So we're going to support Liberty Safe Company? Behind the camera that's filming me are my safes. And the first thing I came in, because I had a panic moment, was like, please tell me our safes aren't Liberty Safe safes. It's like, oh, they're Browning. Okay, yeah, Browning, which is started up the road here in Utah. Yeah, we don't have Liberty Safe companies, and or a safe center company, and we won't be having them. It frustrates me because I don't know why they would post that and take that position and think they would get away with it. Now, is this going to destroy their company? I don't think so. They'll probably still be in business. Are they going to lose their Sportsman's Warehouse and Bass Pro accounts? Likely not. But these are the issues that we're dealing with, and this is how impactful these decisions are as consumers. So we need to pay attention to things like this. Number one, I can't believe we're interdicting and wasting taxpayer dollars to federally raid people who are attending a protest. And we're 2.5 years into that. And we can't literally find out what's on Biden's laptop, and it's tied to the president of the United States, but we could do all this other crap. It frustrates the hell out of me, and I know it frustrates you. Let's talk about this prep life that we did last episode. We are on the border of Mexico and Arizona in Pinal County. It's about 50 miles displaced. Look, the stats as that episode were released, completely factual. You could fact check all of those. The ones that shocked me the most have to do with children. 123,000 plus children were apprehended in the last couple years, of which 85,000 or 80% we've lost contact with, or the actual institutions who are in charge federally for doing that have lost contact with them. And these children were outsourced to sponsors, family members, etc. But when 80% of the people that are specifically children are given away to sponsors and you can't contact them, that's a huge problem, especially because a lot of these children are being sex trafficked and human trafficked. I don't know why this isn't a big deal for most Americans or most national media institutes to report on. I mean, we can see all the things that happened with the documentary. We could talk about that for days, but this is a stat that was released from the Department of Homeland Security, and we should be paying attention to that. I was dumbfounded. I think a lot of you were as well, especially from the comments that I read. Thank you for all that engagement as well. When you have an American who is literally part of the process and facilitating the cartel's will by smuggling these people for cash. And they get caught and they get released because no federal attorney is going to prosecute it. And so we have this revolving door. It's no wonder that Mauritanians, Uzbekistanians, and Indians are crossing the border by the thousands. Also wanted to add, I'm talking to my buddy Jason Jones, who's a retired senior member of DPS in the state of Texas. Texas's protocol on the border are very different than anybody else. Just like Pinal County, where Sheriff Mark Lamb has taken it upon himself as a policy position to enforce these laws and to keep his guys on it so he protects, Arizona, but also the country. So is the state of Texas, where federally we're just releasing these people. Texas is interdicting some of these bad guys on the border. And I, with my team, will be on the border in helicopters. I was a 19th Group Sergeant Major, which is stationed in Texas. Some of the guys that were in my unit were in DPS, or the Texas Rangers, and we're going to get a ride along so we can report to you exactly what's going on the ground on the border, especially dealing with the cartels. At the moment that I'm releasing this, a press release just came out that Jason Jones had me line out in Q&A from All Source News, where 15 members attacked Mexican security forces in Los Guerrera. In addition, multiple Zetas cartel members were detained, and what were seized were multiple improvised grenades. So IEDs, thousands of IEDs have been found recently, especially on the 3 border towns that are Mexican towns on the border of Texas and Arizona, as well as found in a small town in Texas called Roma, Texas, where they found literal grenades from the Mexican cartels in America. We'll report on this more, but I wanted to let you guys know that because according to Jason Jones, 2,200 IEDs have been recovered in Mexico over the 23-month period in 17 states on the border, 3 of which were on the border of Texas. And tradecraft in Mexico does not operate in silos. It affects all index crimes eventually, just as we see throughout Mexico. So these things pouring into our country, including like what you would see from Al-Qaeda, using improvised grenades that are found on people or found on the ground, that's a huge problem for national security. We hope to report on that more in October. And thank you so much for the support that you guys have given us. Lastly, you got a couple things to talk about. I did want to do a border run like we did. If you guys are hardcore Fieldcraft fans, some of you have been with us since the very origins. 5 or 6 years ago, we did a border run with the Arizona Border Recon element that was ran by a man who was using veteran help to identify these guys crossing the border and then reporting that to Border Patrol. We spent a couple days with them. It was very eye-opening and shocking, but also we saw a lot of things on the ground, like caches, and a lot of Americans facilitating the transport of these illegals into our country. But they were saying it was like because we were helping children and families, except that's not always the case. You know, Sheriff Mark Lamb made the greatest analogy. He said, he was talking to a politician once. He said, would you trust 10 people in your home that came across the border? And she was like, yeah, of course I would. What if I told you that 1 of 10, because that's the stat, 1 of 10 was potentially a pedophile or a murderer or violent offender, and you didn't know which one it was? Would you still trust those 10 people in your house with your family? And the answer is no, of course not. Well, that's what we're dealing with. The overwhelming majority of people, I imagine, are coming across the border to get better wages to bring back home or a better life for themselves and their future of their family. I get that. I come from a family of immigrants. I understand that methodology. I understand that mindset, and I understand that motivation and will. But are we willing to risk that for our American citizens by tens, if not hundreds of thousands, with all of the things that are taking place? I want to show you the story on the ground, and I want to do an overland trip. One of the things that we're getting is a Ranger Raptor, which is like the souped up Ranger, as a Fieldcraft rig. I plan to kit it out with Fieldcraft survival stuff, the first aid stuff, kind of build out like we normally build a rig, including a Diamondback covers, like the diamond plate. It's like a top where you could mount, you know, additional weight on top of that, including motorcycles. So we want to show you like how to do the loadout, how to pack it out, and also show you on the ground what we're seeing with our own eyes. I think that's going to be the next piece of content because of your feedback. If there are issues that you want to see us report on, leave those issues in the comments down below, subscribe, and definitely hit that notification tab. Guys, I'm doing a Mike Force shirt for the people of Lahaina. Every $5 per shirt of profit is going to be given to the people of Lahaina directly to the nonprofits that are helping people on the ground. Also, I plan with my buddy Clinton, who's a retired police officer in Hawaii, I plan on doing a preparedness course, probably a series of a few days. And that tactical course that I teach, every penny of profit that is made on the ground in Hawaii, I will donate as well. So I hope to bring all the money from the t-shirts. You guys can get the links down below. There's a fancy picture of it right here. And then attend the courses, and all the money that's made from that tactical course will be given by me personally to the nonprofit on the ground helping people rebuild. I also in December want to tell the story of what's going on, but right now is not the right time. I kind of want to stay out of the way, let them rebuild, let them mourn for their loss. And then I want to tell the story of like, hey, what can we do next time to prevent this, to make sure it never happens again? Especially with the children, the amount of children that were lost in this disaster. Guys, our grand opening is September 16th. You can go to fieldcraftsurvival.com and sign up for that. Lastly, I want to talk about the addition that I add to every kit, especially in wintertime. Like wintertime, this is typically what you'll find me carrying every single day because I'm with my kids most of the time. I mean, they're running around here in the back of Fieldcraft HQ. But I carry that because I have a Sig Macro X, which is the comp variation, which has 17 plus 1 rounds, TacMed Solutions Soft T Wide, which is the tourniquet, and especially the BCK. You know, if you're carrying in winter carry, you have a little bit more real estate. You reduce your signature a little bit more with the amount of clothes you're wearing, so you can carry the full size, heavier mag capacity. And I always recommend carrying a first aid kit. You guys can get this kit down below. We're restocked on these. These are bleeding control kits made by Fieldcraft Survival, or just stuff them like I do inside your fanny pack. That's all I got, guys. I want to say thank you for the overwhelming support. Without your support on this channel, we can't do it. Make sure to tune in to the Patreon Underground. All the things that we do on this channel, we have an underground version of it. And because of your support as patrons, we're able to do that. So you can find out on patreon.com/Mike Glover. Till next time, peace out, guys.